Think that old $half in your drawer is just spare change? Think again. These 5 rare $half coins could be worth a fortune, and you might already have one. Welcome to HT Coins World. Let's dive in and discover the hidden gems in your pocket. Let's start. Number 1. Imagine holding a piece of American history in your hand, gleaming silver, bold lettering, and the proud profile of President John F. Kennedy staring back at you. But then, something's different. Something's off. You flip the coin and take a closer look. That's when it hits you. This is no ordinary $half. This is a rare era coin, one that collectors across the nation are searching for. And it all starts with the United States of America $half from 1776 to 1976, struck at the Denver Mint. During America's Bicentennial celebration, the U.S. Mint released a special Kennedy $half to honor 200 years of independence. Instead of the usual date, these coins featured the dual date 1776 to 1976, and on the reverse, a striking image of Independence Hall in Philadelphia. Millions were struck, but hidden among them, a few received an unexpected twist. These rare $half carry a stunning minting error that separates them from the rest, a dramatic double-die obverse. That's right, Kennedy's face, the word liberty, and even the phrase, "In God we trust," appear with a ghost-like doubling that's clearly visible to the naked eye. This isn't a trick of the light. It's a minting mistake that collectors dream of. So how did it happen? During the striking process, if the die, the metal stamp that imprints the coin, shifts slightly between blows, it can cause the design to be struck twice in nearly the same place. When that happens, every line, letter, and feature gets duplicated. And when it happens on a Kennedy $half meant to commemorate the birth of a nation, the results are numismatic magic. Now here's what you should look for. Examine the lettering, especially Liberty and "In God We Trust." The doubled lines will be most visible around the tips of the letters and Kennedy's profile, particularly near his jawline and hair. Use a magnifying glass or loupe for clarity. And don't forget to check the mint mark. The D for Denver should also show signs of doubling if it's the true era variety. So how rare are these bicentennial double-die $half? Extremely. Out of hundreds of millions minted, only a tiny fraction exhibit this error. Most people pass them around in change without a second thought. That's what makes finding one today so thrilling. It's like discovering treasure hidden in plain sight. Collectors prize these coins not just for the historical moment they represent, but because they combine patriotic symbolism with a stunning and visible minting flaw. They appeal to both seasoned collectors and newcomers alike, offering the perfect blend of American spirit and numismatic rarity. And now for the part you've been waiting for, the value. If you find one of these bicentennial Kennedy $half with a true double-die error, even in circulated condition, it could be worth as much as $12,000. But if yours is in uncirculated condition, graded MS60, MS65, or even higher, auction records show sales soaring up to $122,000, so check your change. Look through your old rolls. That shiny $half might just be a historic error worth a small fortune. Number 2, picture this. You're sorting through a box of old coins, maybe passed down from a relative or picked up at a garage sale. Most of them look ordinary, until one $half catches your eye. At first glance, it looks like any other 1972 Kennedy $half from the Denver Mint. But when you hold it under the light, something's not quite right. The edges are smoothed in one spot, almost like a bite has been taken out of the coin. And that's when you realize, you've just stumbled upon one of the rarest and most fascinating U.S. coin errors out there. This isn't just any Kennedy $half. This is a genuine 1972 declipped planchet era coin. And if you know what to look for, you could be holding a small fortune in your hand. Let's break it down. A clipped planchet error happens during the very first step of the minting process, when blank metal discs, called planchets, are punched out of large sheets of metal. Sometimes, due to a misfeed or overlap, a planchet gets punched too close to the edge of the metal strip or too close to another planchet. The result? A coin with a curved clip or a straight edge where metal should have been. It's a mechanical mistake that transforms an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. On the 1972 D. Kennedy half dollar, this error is especially eye-catching. You'll notice a clean, smooth curve missing from the coin's edge, like a crescent moon carved right out of the metal. But the real proof lies in the details. Look closely at the rim and the denticles, the little tooth-like edges that border the coin. A true clipped planchet will show signs of Blakesley effect, where the opposite side of the clip has weaker or missing details. That's because the pressure wasn't evenly distributed when the coin was struck, and here's what makes it even more exciting. This error is not just rare, it's also remarkably difficult to fake. That means when you find a genuine 1972 declipped planchet Kennedy half dollar, it holds real weight in the world of numismatics. So how rare are these? Let's just say, out of the millions of 1972 D half dollars that were minted, only a tiny handful left the Denver facility with this kind of flaw. Most were caught during quality checks or rejected by automated systems. The few that made it into circulation now sit in private collections, or maybe, just maybe, one is waiting in a dusty jar or roll near you. Collectors love this error not only for its rarity, but for how clearly it tells a story. It's a minting mistake you can see, feel, and explain. It bridges the gap between new hobbyists and experienced numismatists alike, offering something visually impressive and historically significant. Now for the real thrill, the value. A 1972 D. Kennedy half dollar with a dramatic, well-defined clipped planchet error in circulated condition has sold for as much as $16,000. But coins in mid-state condition, graded MS-60 to MS-65 or higher, have fetched prices up to $34,000 at auction, so take another look through your collection. What might seem like a flaw at first glance could be one of the most valuable and exciting finds in all of U.S. coin collecting. Number 3. You're flipping through a pile of old coins, maybe from a flea market, a dusty dresser drawer, or a forgotten roll from the bank. Among the clink of copper and nickel, you spot something that looks ordinary at first glance, a 1971 Kennedy half dollar. The Denver Mint mark sits quietly beneath Kennedy's neck. But then, something strange catches your eye. The color isn't quite right. The weight feels just a bit off. You take a closer look, and suddenly it hits you. This isn't just another half dollar. It's a rare and incredibly valuable minting error that collectors across the country are searching for. This is the story of the 1971 D. Kennedy half dollar struck on a silver planchet. Now, here's what makes this coin so fascinating. 1971 was the first year the U.S. Mint officially stopped using silver in the Kennedy half dollar. From 1965 to 1970, these coins were struck in a 40% silver composition. But starting in 1971, the mint switched entirely to a copper-nickel-clad alloy. The era of silver was supposed to be over. And yet, a few silver planchets somehow remained in the machinery at the Denver Mint. These leftover blanks were accidentally fed into presses and struck with the 1971 D. Kennedy design. The result? A rare transitional error. One of the most thrilling discoveries in modern coin collecting. So, how can you tell if you've got one of these silver errors? First, check the edge. A normal 1971 D. Kennedy half dollar will show a distinct copper stripe when viewed from the side. But a silver planchet will appear solid grayish-white all around, no copper visible. Next, consider the weight. A standard copper-nickel-clad half dollar weighs about 11.34 grams. But a silver planchet version will weigh closer to 11.5 grams, due to its higher density. A digital scale can make all the difference here. Then there's the sound. It may seem old-fashioned, but silver coins produce a distinctive, high-pitched ring when gently tapped. It's a small detail, but it has helped many collectors catch the mistake that machines didn't, and make no mistake, this isn't just a minor fluke. It's an extremely rare error that happened during a critical changeover in U.S. coinage history. Only a handful of these 1971 D silver planchet half dollars are known to exist. Most likely, they were released into circulation before anyone at the mint realized what had happened. That's why even decades later they can still turn up in collections, coin jars, or inherited hoards, collectors go wild for these coins because they capture a unique moment, when old and new technology collided, and history left its fingerprint behind. It's not just a coin. It's a time capsule. And because it was struck in error, every detail is perfectly legal to own and trade, so what's it worth? That's where the excitement really begins. A 1971 D. Kennedy $50 struck on a silver planchet, if found in circulated condition, has sold at auction for as much as $12,000. But if your coin is in pristine, uncirculated condition, graded MS60, MS65, or even higher, auction prices have reached an astonishing $140,000, so don't overlook that $50 rattling around in your change jar. It might just be a mistake worth a fortune, and a reminder that sometimes, the most valuable coins are the ones that weren't supposed to exist at all. Number 4. Imagine holding a coin that's over a century old, a survivor from the era of silent films, Model T Fords, and the final months of World War I. It's worn by time, yet powerful in presence. A 1918 United States of America $50. And as your eyes move across its surface, something immediately stands out. A strange, dramatic curve slices into the rim. Part of the design seems to vanish into thin air. That's when you realize this isn't just a relic. This is a rare error coin, an off-center strike that has collectors buzzing. The 1918 Walking Liberty $50 is already a historic piece. Designed by Adolph A. Weinman, its iconic image of Lady Liberty striding toward the rising sun is considered one of the most beautiful designs in U.S. coinage. But a select few of these coins were struck with a serious misalignment, off-center, with the die hitting the blank planchet in the wrong position. And that mistake turned these already desirable coins into rare numismatic treasures. So what exactly is an off-center error? It happens when the planchet, the blank metal disc, isn't seated properly in the striking chamber. Instead of being perfectly centered, it shifts slightly, or even significantly, off to the side. When the dies strike, part of the design lands on the coin, and the rest lands on empty space. The result? A coin with part of its image missing, often accompanied by a large blank crescent where no design appears at all. Now here's where it gets exciting for collectors. The more dramatic the misalignment, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the date remains visible. In the case of the 1918 Walking Liberty $50, finding one that's 10% or more off-center and still shows the full date is incredibly rare. Most were caught and destroyed by the mint. Only a handful ever slipped through into the public's hands. To identify a genuine 1918 off-center error, look at the rim first. You'll notice a wide blank arc where the die missed. Parts of Lady Liberty's figure or the eagle on the reverse may be cut off or shifted. Most importantly, check that the date, 1918, is still fully visible, because once the date disappears, the value drops significantly. What makes this coin even more remarkable is the era in which it was made. Minting technology in the early 1900s wasn't as precise as it is today, which means errors were more likely, but survival rates were low. Coins like this weren't often saved, and if they circulated, many were damaged or worn beyond recognition. So when a well-preserved 1918 off-center $50 surfaces, collectors take notice. It's the kind of coin that tells a story, of a minting mistake frozen in time, of a nation emerging from war, and of a design so beloved it still inspires all over 100 years later. And yes, these coins are worth serious money. A 1918 Walking Liberty $50 with a clear, visible off-center error in circulated condition has sold for up to $11,000. But if you're lucky enough to find one in uncirculated, mint-state condition, graded MS60 to MS65 or higher, it could bring as much as $47,000 at auction. So next time you see a $50 from the past, look closer. That curved edge, that missing piece, it might just be the key to uncovering a rare mistake worth a small fortune. Number 5, you're sifting through a handful of old $50, maybe looking for silver, maybe just chasing nostalgia, when you stop. There it is. A 1973 Kennedy $50. It looks clean, bright, almost untouched. But then you notice something off. The rim isn't perfectly round. The design is slightly shifted. You flip it over, and that's when the mystery deepens. The strike isn't centered. The image is off kilter, like the entire coin slid sideways during minting. Congratulations. You may be holding one of the rarest error coins from the modern era, an off-center struck 1973 Kennedy half-dollar. Now, let's take a step back. The Kennedy half-dollar has been in circulation since 1964, created in honor of President John F. Kennedy just months after his assassination. While millions were made each year, not all were perfect. In rare cases, the minting machinery misfeeds a blank planchet, causing it to land slightly out of position before the dies strike. The result? An off-center error that leaves part of the coin's design missing, and part of the planchet blank. For collectors, this is gold. Well, not literally, but close enough in value. The 1973 Kennedy half-dollar is unique because it wasn't released for general circulation. All 1973 half-dollars were struck specifically for collector sets and numismatic rolls. So the few that made it into circulation with off-center errors are already extremely limited in number. Add in the fact that most minting errors are caught and discarded during production, and you've got a true modern rarity. So how do you know it's real? A genuine off-center strike will show a visible portion of the design missing, typically along one edge. There might be a crescent-shaped blank area, or the lettering may seem pushed to one side. Most importantly, the coin must still show the full date and mint mark. If the date is partially cut off, its value can drop dramatically. But if it's fully visible, and the strike is dramatic, collectors will line up to take a closer look. Another tip: pay attention to the rim. On a standard Kennedy half-dollar, the rim is raised and even all the way around. But on an off-center strike, that balance is broken. One side may have no rim at all, while the opposite side looks bloated or warped. It's one of the easiest ways to spot the error with the naked eye. Why are these coins so valuable? Because they're not just accidents, they're stories. A glimpse into the imperfections of the minting process. A reminder that even in a high-tech environment, mistakes slip through. And when they do, they become treasures. The 1973 Kennedy half-dollar off-center error is especially prized because of its restricted release year, its historical significance, and the striking visual appeal of the error itself. It bridges the gap between classic and modern U.S. coin collecting, and appeals to both beginners and seasoned pros. Now let's talk numbers. A circulated 1973 Kennedy half-dollar with a dramatic off-center strike can command as much as $8,000 at auction. But coins in pristine, uncirculated condition, graded MS-60 to MS-65 or higher, have fetched up to $27,000, so the next time you come across a 1973 half-dollar, don't just pass it by. Tilt it under the light. Check the rims. Look for that beautiful mistake. Because in the world of coin collecting, an error like this isn't a flaw, it's a jackpot.